All right, everybody. It's been a while since I've done a truck talk here, and I figured it was overdue. Just kind of a quick update. No crazy edits, none of that. Just giving y'all, my current thought process and where I'm wanting to go here soon. So, if you're new to the channel, my name's Chad. This is Endless Potential. I'm mainly going over fitness content, nutrition, stuff like that, things that I've learned, things that I've struggled with, where I'm currently at, kind of going into it and how I make progress in my own fitness journey, as well as getting to learn about other sports in the fitness industry in general. So, from the beginning of the channel, I started doing a deficit. I went from about 235 at the beginning of the channel. I dropped weight down to 205 about 5 weeks ago. And so it was a 30-pound drop over multiple weeks, about a pound a week. And so we got to 205. I had vacation while it was still hot and nice outside, good weather, and decided, you know what, let's take a break. I went from 205. I went back up 10 pounds. So I weigh about 215 right now. Intentionally wanted to gain weight. I didn't want to just continually be in a deficit and go from 235 all the way to like 180 and never have a break in there. Because your body will eventually start to do things like slow your metabolism down, and it will become, the baseline will be lower, and you also have burnout. So I took a break, gained 10 pounds. Also you get into the mindset of wanting to be nervous about eating, especially when you start really focusing on dieting hard. Everything needs to be tracked, everything needs to be accounted for. You stress over like the small things over after you've lost. Once you get to a certain point, it becomes very tedious, and that's taxing. So taking a break on occasion can be beneficial. So went to 215, going back into another deficit. I want to drop around 15, 20 pounds here in this one. So 30 down, 10 up, 20 down. So I actually be 10 pounds lighter than when I ended the last deficit. And yeah, so cardio's been coming in. I know a lot of people have been wondering. I haven't really discussed cardio a whole lot. I've talked about it on occasion, but I haven't done any videos like me doing cardio. Mainly because I just do it. I don't really think about it, and so I've seen that there's been a lot of interest in it, and so I would bring in some information and discussion about cardio to the channel, different types of cardio, how it can be useful. And because it's all not the same, not all cardio is the same. So cardio has been introduced. I'm tracking the food now. Everything's back on a scale. When you're gaining weight, I mean, it's really no different than losing weight. You still should be tracking everything. The only difference is sometimes there might be a little bit more leeway as far as like maybe I want something sweet that day, so I have a little bit extra calories. As long as I'm hitting, my goals, I might have something like that. But it's not really a huge change. It's just eating the same things you were eating in a deficit, but you're eating more of it, so you feel full, you have more energy. Versus being hungry, eating less of it. You don't really, go on a dirty bulk. You can do the dirty bulk, and there's a time and place for it, maybe. Very, very limited. I think a lot of people overuse the dirty bulk versus just a clean surplus of calories. It's more difficult. Like sometimes people think that being in a deficit can be difficult because you're hungry, but when you're eating clean and you're already full, imagine trying to eat more of the same food that when you're full, but you have to get the calories in that day. So there's ups and downs and pros and cons to it and challenges. But back into the deficit, I've added cardio in twice a week, roughly about 250 to 300 calories burning a session. I've been doing steady state, low impact. So if you look in the community section, I did a 30-minute session today. StairMaster. It's not very high incline, or not incline. It's not very high speed. I think the speed's like 6, which every machine's different, but that's like a pretty slower pace. I mean, you can still talk roughly if you had to and have some sentences get out without struggling really bad. But the heart rate's about 120 to 130 is where I keep it. I like to get that. Just it's like to the point where it's just uncomfortable to talk, but you wouldn't like to talk, and you can feel the sweat rolling. So I found that between like 110 to 130. 110 is like whenever it's kind of too easy on heart rate. So I have to keep about 120 to 130 realistically, and 110 being the minimum if I'm doing like a steady state, just trying to burn calories. So StairMaster is there, really really good for also getting in some like calf work. So if you think about pushing with the calves on your, pretty much tiptoeing on the stairs, you can get some really good calf burn in there. Also, if you go flat-footed, you can really push through and get a lot of hamstring glute activation. And so instead of just thinking of just doing a walk or just walking upstairs, make it an intentional movement where you're contracting the muscle, and you can actually make it a pretty engaging and intentional workout versus just mindlessly moving to burn calories. And then, like I said, cleaning up the diet here. So when I'm in a deficit, roughly I would eat about 200 grams of protein a day, and then I would transition the rest of the calories that were left over to carbs and minimum fats. Right now, what I'm doing, if I'm trying to, so I'd have a higher intake of carbs pretty much. So now what I'm doing when I'm trying to lose weight is I would up the protein to about 220, and then I'll bring the carbs down just a little bit. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to have the ability to fully repair the muscle damage that happens in the gym to maintain the muscle that I have. And so when you think about it, when you're trying to gain muscle, you want to just push in carbs so your performance can go through the roof. And you have more energy in the gym, and you can translate that to lifting heavier for longer sessions and getting more intensity out of it and more volume. Whatever it is you're doing, you have more energy, you have more input to get better output with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are very, very fundamental macro in lifting. But when you're trying to lose weight, you got to choose on your intake where you're going to pull those calories out of. Protein is like very, very important for when you're trying to lose weight because you need to retain the muscle that you've built. So that's my thought process on that. And also, thermogenesis goes into effect, which is basically protein is harder to digest than carbs or fats, and so you feel fuller longer. I'm not talking about the actual, like it's like takes like 30% more effort to consume 1 calorie of protein versus a calorie of carbs or fats. Fats actually translate directly, almost no energy is expended getting fat to energy stored, which is fat on your. So basically, translating fat to fat in your body is really no cost. Carbs, there's very little. Protein costs the most. But I'm not really counting that. What I'm talking about is the ability for it to take longer to digest. And so if I up my protein, it's also going to make me feel more satiated. So you're not going to feel as hungry, even though it's the same amount of calories. Because you got to think, and if it was a pie chart, the calories didn't change. Only thing that changed was the macros, but because protein is so filling, it's very easy to not, or it's easier, it's not very easy, but it's easier to feel less hungry than if I was to just eat a bunch of carbs like I would on a bulk, on a surplus. I mean, I think anybody knows you can eat a bag of cereal, a whole box of cereal, and like 30 minutes later be like, man, I feel like I didn't eat nothing. It just burns through so fast. So you kind of got to be really careful with what you're eating. Even with your carbs, like I'll go to potatoes instead of eating rice. I might eat more potatoes, sweet potatoes, things with fiber in them, so that way it causes a satiation effect for hours. So I don't have to think about being hungry. So that's my thought process on it. Kind of a quick update. I will be getting some video and some cardio equipment. I have quite a few videos in the work currently that I'm getting scheduled out. I'm getting planned. It is difficult sometimes to get schedules lined up with people, so I'm working on that. Y'all see I have a video that I'm trying to drop by the end of this week. I'm working on about fast food, talking about what I was just talking about, satiation, calories, expenditure, calories intake, all that. Kind of going over the pros and cons of fast food. So I hope you guys will like that. But just wanted to give you a quick update, you guys. So I'll see you guys on the next one. This is Chad at Endless Potential. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It really, really helps the channel out a ton when y'all drop those comments. I'm reading them, not just for engagement like people think. I'm actually reading the comments. I take them into account, just like I'm talking about the cardio. The cardio being missed on the gym reviews was actually from a comment in the Crunch Fitness review. And so I took that and I said, okay, it's constructive criticism. I missed out on it. I'm gonna learn from it. We're gonna get it out there. And so when y'all drop these comments, I'm actually reading them. I'm taking them into account, and I try to improve and have the channel grow. So, and then subscribe, get this channel growing. So I'll see you guys on the next one. This is Chad Endless Potential. Peace.